So, one of my earliest teenage obsessions was skincare. Instead of looking at toys in the kids section at the store, I was looking at moisturizers in the skincare section. As I grew up and navigated my sexuality, I saw that most of the beauty industry was aimed at feminine women, sometimes at masculine men, but everyone else was left out. It wasn't for someone like me. With Surf Labs, I wanted to create a fun skincare experience for everyone. I'm pretty sure your skin doesn't care how masc or femme you are or who you love, but I'm absolutely sure you need to take care of it. Check us out at surflabs.co, servelabs.co, and you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at surflabs. Hello, welcome to the Gay Cruise and Travel Podcast with me, Joey T. You know what I really hate is when I'm listening to a podcast and they have music of some sort. So I have intro music for this podcast, which is a little bit of a circuit mix. But I don't like it when I'm listening to a podcast and the music is loud because I always have to rush for the volume control and turn it down when they have the music come in. Because a lot of podcasts, it starts with a bunch of ads. Hey, which is fine. I run ads on my podcast too. But a lot of podcasts, the first 1 or 2 or 3 minutes, it's all ads. So I'm fast forwarding through that. And then suddenly, especially when I'm wearing earbuds or earphones, suddenly I'll hit the music and just blasting. It's there's this one podcast I just listened to, and it's a motorsports podcast. And they, instead of music, they have a bunch of car noises, like the engine revving up or exhaust noise or tire screeching. It's those are not noises I want blasted loudly in my earbuds when I'm listening to a podcast. So I just really wish, I hope I'm doing a decent job. I try to make sure that the intro music is not super loud when I play it. It's a little bit of music. It's not full blast music, because I don't appreciate that on a podcast. So I try to turn it down a little bit. That was neither here nor there, but welcome to the Gay Cruise and Travel Podcast with me, Joey T. Hey, we got some cruise updates today from Atlantis. We have a brand new cruise that was just announced coming up in January of next year. And we also have new dates for a cruise that was pushed back, and it was a cruise I talked about a couple of months ago. So let's dive right into the details. First of all, we're going to talk about the Drag Stars cruise. So I did a whole episode on this a little while ago, a couple months ago. At that time when it was announced, it was announced only 2 months-ish before it was actually going to set sail, which is very weird, to put it nicely. But shortly after they announced that, they pushed the dates back all the way to October. It's in October now, October 15th to the 19th. Everything else about the cruise seems to be about the same. So in case you missed that episode, the Drag Stars cruise is basically a cruise with drag stars. It's a drag performers cruise. If you are a fan of drag queens, drag performers, drag culture, then this is, you'd be the target audience for this cruise. And it also means Atlantis branching out a little bit into an audience that's just beyond their typical kind of gay male demographic. A lot of people are into drag culture and would love to see drag queens perform, maybe on a ship in some different venues, since drag gets a lot more into the mainstream the last several years and continues to be. So feel free to listen to that previous podcast. Which one was that? That was the episode 22 on April 28th. And a lot of the information in that podcast episode is correct, just in terms about the vibe and the idea of it. I talk about it a lot. But here are the changes that you need to know. Again, it's got new dates now. It's going to be October 15th to the 19th. So it's still going to be a 3 nights cruise The itinerary seems to be the same. There's a sea day on day 1, Key West on day 2, and Bimini in the Bahamas on day 3. And it sails from Miami in Florida. There's still an alumni discount for it, which is $200 off any balcony room. They still seem to have the same lineup of drag performers as advertised on their website. So I personally am not completely exactly sure about that lineup of performers being kept absolutely perfectly the same with this big date change. I wouldn't be, I think it's likely that they will probably have all the same drag performers as listed now, but it wouldn't surprise me if there were some changes slash subtractions to that list because they do have a really, what I consider to be like a really fantastic lineup of drag performers. But, when you have like a big date change for something like this, you really have to like match up with people's new schedules. And the difficulty with doing a cruise is someone like Atlantis, they have to charter the ships and it's really subject to the cruise lines themselves when they have availability for a charter company like Atlantis to be able to like rent out the whole ship. And then you also have to match up with the schedule for all the performers. And this is like a general truthism, I guess. This is a general just logistical consideration for any performers that want to perform on a cruise, is that it's not like a gig where, it's in the city, it's just gonna take like a half a day or maybe like a day. You have to like, there's a specific time where you have to like be at the port to like get onto the ship, even though you have like a few hours range usually, or even several hours. And with this particular cruise, I guess, someone could come in Miami if they can't stay the full 3 nights, or like 4 days almost, and they can like get on in Miami and then they can get off at Key West, or they can get on the ship at Key West and then they can, I don't know, in the Bahamas, there's like really good transportation to like fly out of there and back to the States or wherever. But yeah, so it's going to be like, I'm interested to see if there's going to be any changes basically to the performers lineup. They've already announced the performers lineup. I took a quick look, seems to be the exact same as what they announced before back in April. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna sell out. I'm gonna give you the Just Joey T sales outlook here. I was gonna do some like music for like my Just Joey T predictions when I talk about the sales outlook, like the vibe of the crowd and things like that. But those are just like my opinions. But I find that to be very useful information for a lot of you people that are looking at different cruises. The most common questions I get are, what's the vibe and what's the crowd going to be like on that particular sailing? As well as, how much of a hurry do I need to be to book this cruise? Like, is this something like I need to book now because it's going to sell out soon? Or like, do I have some time? Should I even like wait for a discount maybe later on? This one, I don't think is going to sell out. There are a lot of fans of drag queens and drag culture nowadays. Like RuPaul's Drag Race is so big now. It's in the mainstream. However, to get fans, pretty dedicated fans, onto a cruise ship for 3 days is basically asking them to take a vacation trip. Cruises are not the cheapest types of vacations to go on. This one is obviously a lower price point because it's like a shorter cruise, obviously. But to get people to have to go to Miami and then hop onto the ship, that's a bit of an ask compared to what most people would be willing to do to go see a drag performance. So I don't think it's really going to depend on how well this is marketed. And I mentioned this before in that previous episode when I did a deep dive into this idea of a drag stars cruise. Atlantis really, really has to start marketing to an audience they've not marketed to before. They've mainly marketed to gay men. For this to be really successful, if they want to sell this out or pack the ship, they have to market to basically, like a good portion of like the general public outside of the traditional queer community. They kind of really have to target just general fans of drag. And that is a much, much bigger slice of the public than gay men. And the way you would have to market to this pretty different segment of the audience is not going to be the same. They're not already on your mailing list. You can't just kind of do it by word of mouth as much as you could do before. I'm sure Atlantis, they've been marketing stuff for so long. But this is just a very new type and demographic of the public that I think they would need to market to fill up the ship. You can't rely on enough gay guys to fill this up. I was talking to some people just informally that I know are like big Drag Race fans, but they're not to the point. They are really big fans of Drag Race. One of them actually went to the premiere of All-Star Season 10. There was like a little event in New York City, and all the All-Stars 10 queens were at the event, or like the vast majority of them. And he went to that. Obviously, he lives in New York, so it was like easier. But like, it's those types of fans that are kind of sort of like super fans, the ones that watch like every season, the ones that are like that invested in drag culture. Those are the ones that would be the most likely to want to go on this cruise. So it really depends on the marketing for this one, because it's not going to sell itself. I don't think it's going to sell out unless Atlantis does a lot more marketing towards a much bigger slice of the public. And I haven't seen that happen yet. So if you want more information, you're interested in booking this one, contact your travel advisor or agent. And it's also available at dragstars.com. So they've got a separate website for that. But it's not really under the Atlantis branding. They're kind of making this not under Atlantis, making this like its own thing. Dragstars is like its own branding. So that was a different website for that. Most of you probably have a facial cleanser and moisturizer already, so I want to tell you about Shield and Slay DP, which is an anti-pollution hydration spray I formulated specifically for my skincare line, Serve Labs. This is actually a product I've been looking for years now and haven't been able to find on the market, which is something that was a hydration spray but also has anti-pollution, antioxidant properties for your skin. Shield and Slay DP is the ultimate double protection defense for your skin, teaming up antioxidants, probiotics, along with hydrating ingredients to fend off environmental stressors and aggressors. You can use it as part of your daily skincare routine, but I've also designed it so you can use it while you're out and about, on an airplane, or whenever your skin feels dry, dull, or a bit worse for wear. All you have to do is spray it on. Check out Shield and Slay DP along with the rest of the Serve Labs skincare lineup at servelabs.co, servelabs.co, and you can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at ServeLabs. Okay, next, let's get into a brand new cruise that Atlantis has just announced. So last week, they sent an email to Atlantis alumni for this brand new Tropical Americas cruise sailing January. And today, when this podcast goes out, Monday, June the 9th, starting from 12 Pacific noon today, it should be going onto public sale, which means that when you go to the regular public Atlantis website, you see this listed in their cruises section. And then also, you can just hit up your travel agent or go into the online reservation system and self-book it that way. I say should because, again, I mentioned this before, timelines that Atlantis gives are, I wish they wouldn't give so many timelines because they're not great at adhering to them. But sometime around now-ish, the day that this goes up is when Atlantis claims at 12 noon today on Monday, June 9th, that it's supposed to go on public sale. But since last week, they've been doing the alumni pre-sale for this brand new cruise. And we are going to give you I'm going to give you all the details. The one-person shop here. I will say before I get into all the details, Atlantis does usually run a second Caribbean cruise at the beginning of every year. So we talked about, quote unquote, the big one. I always call it as well, quote unquote, the party cruise. That's the big ship that sails January or February at the beginning of every year. So this year in 2025, it was the Allure of the Seas. Next year, it's the Symphony of the Seas. So I did a previous episode talking all about the Symphony cruise coming up, and I've given you guys a lot of pointers in terms of like sales and different types of rooms to book and things like that. So a lot of you kind of have heard me talk a lot about that Symphony cruise already. And that big cruise, that big one, It's the one that has a reputation of its own. There are a lot of people that know about that cruise, that Atlantis cruise, but doesn't know about any other Atlantis cruises. But that one has gone so big and it's gone so popular. It has a reputation of its own, kind of almost stands by itself a little bit. That the other Caribbean cruise that Atlantis usually does have around the same time of the year, January or February, lives in the shadow of that bigger cruise. So this one, particular one, well, let's just go into some of the basic details. I can give you more of my thoughts on it. Okay, so officially it's got the Tropical Americas cruise. It's going to sail from January 15th to the 26th in 2026 next year. That's from a Thursday to a Monday. This one is 11 nights, so it's on a longer side of the cruise. The average cruise for Atlantis is a week, 7 nights. This one's 11, so it's like a week and a half. The itinerary, I'm just going to go quickly through some of the ports. So it's going to go from Miami on a Virgin Voyages ship. So Atlantis sailing a lot of Virgin ships now. The Brilliant Lady in this particular case. From Miami, it's going to go to Costa Maya in Mexico. Costa Maya in Mexico. It's going to go to Puerto Limon. I want to say Lemon. Puerto Limon in Costa Rica. Sorry, I'm butchering all these names. It's going to go to Colon in Panama. Then Cartagena in Colombia. There's an overnight there for that one. It doesn't leave until the next morning. And then Orangestad, Aruba. How do you pronounce this? Orangestad, Aruba. I don't comment in the comments. Just Google how to pronounce these and then just be on your merry way, okay? Obviously, a bunch of sea days thrown in there randomly, but those are the ports for your 11 nights. Costa Maya, Puerto Limon, Colon, Cartagena, and then Aruba. Okay, butchering all the names as I usually do. The sales timeline, I kind of mentioned this already. It went alumni pre-sale last week, lasting all the way until this morning, the morning of Monday, June the 9th. Then supposedly at noon Pacific today, it should be going on public sale. If you don't see it on the Atlantis public website already, again, Atlantis not the best at adhering to their own timeline. So probably sometime this week. If not already, then it should be the information for the whole cruise. There should be a section on this cruise in the cruises section on the Atlantis website. Again, your travel agent can help you out as well. Alumni discounts. If you're alumni, you would have received an email about this cruise probably already. And then within there, it says there are some discounts on certain room types. So the TC and TR, Central and Regular Sea Terrans rooms, you can save up to $300 per room. And then there's also a Limited View Sea Terrans or the TL room types, and you can save $200 at the discount code in the alumni email. If you're an alumni, you would have seen the email. Dig it out of your inbox or the spam folder, the depths of your email account. And apparently, that alumni discount is good until June 13th. For those people who are interested in suites, there's a special booking process for suites, as there are for pretty much every Atlantis cruise. There's a special booking form for suites, which would be in the email. So if you're alumni, you've gotten the email. There's a section to request for a suite. Alumni will get first dips for suites, and if there are any leftovers, then everyone else will be able to get a suite or have a chance to submit a request for a suite, to be more accurate as well. So yeah, again, Atlantis does this. This is basically the second Caribbean cruise that Atlantis is doing at the beginning of the year, like they do most years, and it's quite a contrast to that big party cruise I mentioned, which for next year will be the Symphony. This particular one, I think it's a little bit unique. Atlantis is running a New Year's cruise to Tahiti over New Year's. And that one sold out like hotcakes. It's like they were giving them out or something. That one sold out super, super fast against my own estimate and projections. But they don't usually run a New Year's cruise. They don't usually run anything over New Year's Eve or in like December. So the Tahiti one sold out super fast. It's not like a super big ship. It's more of like a premium, higher price, more like a luxury cruise, the Tahiti one over New Year's. But the Tahiti one gets back, that cruise ends on January the 6th. Okay. That one sold out. A good number of people are going to go on that Tahiti cruise and have tons of fun for New Year's. And then the February cruise, the big party cruise on Symphony, that sails February the 1st. This new cruise we're talking about, this Tropical Americas cruise, again, the dates are January the 15th to the 26th, and it's for 11 nights. Those two things, the dates and the length, is why I think this cruise is not gonna sell out probably. It's gonna sell some amount. There's gonna be people there's gonna be like a good amount of people that's gonna book it. I don't think it's gonna fill right up though. At least not anytime fast. It's not gonna sell super fast. It's not gonna sell like the Tahiti one. It's not gonna sell as fast as the Symphony. It's just not gonna happen. And I think that because they are already running a New Year's cruise in Tahiti, that takes up, some of their client base is already booked on that one. And that's not one that they usually have booked. And then a whole bunch of people are booking very quickly the Symphony cruise. That's only like 2 weeks after this one. So you basically have this cruise that's smack in between a sold out cruise that a bunch of people are already going on and another cruise that's selling out really fast on a gigantic ship that can hold over 5,500 passengers. So basically between the Tahiti cruise and the Symphony cruise, they've already sucked up a whole bunch of their client base that would want to go on a cruise around that year, like around that part of the year. Okay. The second Caribbean cruise usually never sells out. Okay. And that's on a year when they don't have an extra New Year's cruise sucking up passengers. Because someone who's going to go on a Tahiti cruise, go on that New Year's Eve cruise, are they really going to go on an 11 nights cruise like less than like barely a week afterwards? No. And someone who's going to book the Symphony cruise that sails on February the 1st, and that is going to sell out, that is selling very quickly, they are not going to go on this cruise either. Because, who's going to go on 2 cruises in a month? Very little people. Very, very few people. The people that might go on 2 cruises a month are the people that are retired. Or the people that are like, I know some digital nomads that they really, really love doing Atlantis cruises. They have a very flexible schedule. They have a decent income, but they have a lot of flexibility in their work schedule. And they never have to like go into an office anywhere. They can work from anywhere. They have a very flexible schedule. They just need the laptop and a little of internet. And it's not like they have to be working like 8 or 10 hours every single day. They have a very flexible schedule. Those are the types of people that where they're not retired, they're still working, but then they can just kind of like go on cruises wherever, whenever. And they also really like going on cruises. And they go on cruises, like many cruises, like 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 cruises a year. Like they're on a cruise like every month. So there are a minority of people that are like that I know. But because of some of those factors, and it's an 11-day cruise is a bigger commitment. It's easier to get people to go on like a 5 or 7 nights cruise than an 11 nights cruise. It's a bigger commitment. You have to take more time out of your everyday. And again, barring the people who are retired, and you're retired, so you can kind of sort of do whatever. And the people that have like a very, very flexible work from anywhere type of a work schedule, it's harder to get people to commit to 11 nights on a cruise ship, especially when there are, in my view, more attractive cruises, barely a week before and then, barely a week after that. So it's kind of squeezed in. It's got a lot of competition and calls are coming from within the house, the Atlantis house. So that's why I don't think it's going to sell. The second Caribbean cruise never sells out anyway. I think there are people that are interested in this cruise. There are people that they don't want that party cruise that is a Symphony of the Seas, and they are Atlantis alumni, and they know that there is usually a second Caribbean cruise at the beginning of the year that is a much more relaxing experience. And let's talk about that a little bit. It's going to be a much more relaxing experience. All the party people are going to go on Symphony. Most of them have already booked it. It's selling fast. The people that don't want it to be such a party cruise wants just like a more relaxing cruise, and they want to cruise around that time of a year, they will have gone on the Tahiti cruise and have booked that already, or they'll go on this one. So there is some demand from just like the Atlantis client base that want a more quieter, relaxing cruise at the beginning of the year because it's a good winter escape from whatever cold part of the country you're in. It's like the middle of winter, obviously in mid of the January, and a lot of people don't want a rowdy, crazy party cruise, which the Symphony is and going to be. So I think the Tahiti cruise, maybe that's one of the reasons why it's sold so well is, it's a good winter escape. A lot of people like to take vacations in the winter to escape whatever cold is in their home city. That was like the only option at the time for them to book was this New Year's one. And people like to do something for New Year's as well, obviously. So I think this particular cruise, this second Caribbean cruise, there will be people that book it. I don't think it's going to fill up. And it's going to cater to more of the non-party crowd. I don't have to sugarcoat it. There's nothing wrong with being a party person or not a party person. It's like it's not. It is what it is. Sometimes you like to party, sometimes you don't. Some people want to party all the time. Some people they don't want to party at all, and that's okay. Something for everyone. So those are my thoughts on this particular cruise in terms of like the sales outlook and just in terms of like the vibe. I was on that second. It was in 2023. At the beginning of that year, I went on both of the Caribbean cruises at the beginning of the year. That year, they had the Norwegian Prima as that second Caribbean non-party cruise. And that was, I think there was only like a week in between that one and then the big party cruise that I also went on afterwards. I had a lot of free time early that year. And I was drawn to that Prima cruise because it was nearly a brand new ship. It had only set sail for like a few months. It was like a really new ship. It was on a different cruise line that I haven't had a lot of experience with. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to check it out. But I also wanted just to check out, hey, what's this like second Caribbean cruise like? And it was very nice and relaxing, which I did appreciate. If you go into it knowing what the general vibe and intent of the cruise is, you'll be fine. And I knew I was also going to go on the party cruise, barely a week after I got off Prima. And I knew that, okay, I'm going to have a nice relaxing vacation on the Prima cruise, the second Caribbean cruise, if you will. And then, a week or two later, I'm going to go on the party cruise and I'm going to have some good parties there and I'll party out there. And it worked out really, really nicely. I do appreciate having those quieter cruises. So if you are looking for a winter vacation, you're looking, and obviously the Tahiti one's already sold out. You are someone interested in hitting up Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Aruba. If those destinations are appealing to you, and you don't really want a party cruise. You want to be like a slower, nicer, more relaxing cruise. This is up your alley, honestly, and obviously assuming that you can take the 11 days off of whatever your work or your daily life requires of you, then there you go. And it's on another Virgin ship, and Virgin, I've only done one Virgin sailing, but the one that I did, I really, really liked. And some of the things that are on every single Virgin ship is free Wi-Fi, and all the restaurants are included. And they also have non-alcoholic beverages included. So that's something that's really nice about Virgin that does not apply to most other cruise lines. Most other cruise lines, they don't even give you bottled water. They don't give you soda. They will charge you quite a bit for Wi-Fi. Royal Caribbean, for example, it can easily be like $150 at least for like a week's of Wi-Fi on like a 7 days cruise. It can easily be $20 to $30 for 1 day's Wi-Fi. So it does get quite expensive for just like basic things like that. And it's kind of nice that, all the restaurants are included as part of the fare. Most cruise lines have a thing where there are certain free restaurants like the main dining and like the buffet and like a few other outlets, for example. But then there are also some premium or specialty restaurants where, everything on the menu costs money. So I kind of saw like the way that Virgin does the cruises a little bit differently, which I really appreciate. Oh, and they also bring you pitchers of water in your room, and they refill it every single day. So I've talked about how getting water, it's amazing. It's kind of difficult. technically the water that comes out of the tap in your bathroom, in your stateroom cabin on a cruise ship, is perfectly drinkable. All the water on the ship is filtered in the same way. The water that's coming out of your bathroom sink is filtered and treated the same way as the water that goes to the restaurants. So I actually just drink the water from the bathroom tap on a lot of the cruises. But it's very nice. When I was on the Virgin cruise last year, they gave me 2 pitchers. One of them was I put into the little mini fridge to chill it up, and the other one was just room temperature. So I always had a pitcher of water that was chilled, which is nice for like if you just came back from the pool or from like the gym, or it was just like a hot day outside and you want just like some chilled water. Sometimes it's really nice, but there's also like the room temperature water I just like kind of left out. So it's nice like they bring you water. It sounds like such a basic thing. But anyways, getting a bit on a tangent, but I really like the Virgin cruise experience, and a lot of the Atlantis cruises this year and also next year are on Virgin ships. So I hope to be back on another one because I want to get a little bit more experience. Like, are all the Virgin cruises have the same experience? Is it kept consistent? I've been on a bunch of Royal Caribbean cruises, for example. I've been on a few Norwegian ones, but that was like a little bit more in the past because Atlantis doesn't really sail them anymore. But yeah, this one is just launched again, so I'll be keeping a close eye on it. But as with all the other Atlantis cruises and sailings, register and subscribe to this podcast. Follow me on I don't actually post anything about cruise updates on Instagram, but just keep it to this podcast. Anytime there are any big changes to any of the Atlantis cruises, whether there's a brand new cruise being announced or a big change to a existing one, I will make sure to bring all of that to you, as well as if I get wind that maybe a popular cruise is about to sell out, then I will let you know as well. I've been keeping all of you guys updated on the Symphony of the Seas sales progress and how well that's selling out. I mentioned a couple of times already, that one's selling fast. And again, I expect that one to probably sell it in like August or September, right around there. So it's mostly filled, but there are still rooms available. If you are interested in a party cruise next year, that is the party cruise to go on. I would say get on that, go do that now. But if anything changes, I will let everybody know. And with that, I'm going to sign out. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Gay Cruise and Travel Podcast. If you appreciate this podcast or any of the other podcasts or content that I produce, including my YouTube videos, I would so appreciate a little token of your support and appreciation in the form of a tip. You can use the thanks button that's at the bottom of all my YouTube videos. So beside the like button, there's a little like extra menu, 3 dots you can click on, and then there will be a thanks button there. And from there, you can leave me a tip directly from YouTube, which I would much appreciate. Or I also have an app called Buy Me a Coffee, which is a platform that you can use to tip your favorite creators, and you leave me a little tip there. Oh, do you know I also do a Patreon? I have a Patreon that I have exclusive content for people who are fans of me personally. And one of the things I release are travel vlogs. So whenever I go on any sort of travel trip, I always vlog it. So right now what's going up is my trip to Bangkok and Seoul that I went on in April. And that one's going up right now. And later this month into July, I'm going to release the vlog that I did when I went to EDC Las Vegas just last month. I love going to EDC. I haven't been in a few years, and this year I went again. I did Camp EDC, which was like so much fun. And I just talked about my whole experience in the last episode of this podcast. Feel free to go check that out. But I'm going to have a travel vlog, a video vlog that I'm going to post for my Patreon subscribers, and that's going to be, it's going to have to be multi-parts because it was like so much footage. It's going to start coming out later this month into July. So if you want to support me and also get some exclusive content and also get direct access to me, go check out my Patreon. Everything is linked down in the description below. And I'm going to take a breath. I always forget to plug myself up at the top of my podcast. It's always like an afterthought in my head. Like, oh, at the end, oh, it's just suddenly at the end when I'm signing off, it's like, oh, plug my shit. Okay, well, anyways, hope you all have a good start to the week, and I will see you next week for another episode. Until then, bye, y'all.